What is going on YouTube? Welcome back to a brand new video, and today we're going to be looking at the Scar17. Now this weapon has been recently buffed in the Season 4 update, and what included in that was the multiplier damager to the neck and the multiplier damager to the chest. Now these were not the greatest of buffs that can come to a weapon, but it definitely put it on the roadmap to have to be looked into and to see how it affected the everyday use of the weapon. Now, in my eyes, personally, I do believe that, it's not the greatest of buffs, and if you ever actually look in their description, they do actually state that they are going to be looking to further increase the damage, in the future. Now, do I believe it needs a power increase to the damage? Maybe just the smallest amount, but not a crazy amount, okay? What they really need to focus on is the other aspects. Maybe to add a 60-round mag. Even a 50-round mag would do, if I'm honest with you. But having a 30-round mag in such a, a slow fire rate weapon, it really just... It isn't good enough in my eyes. I do believe it does need a little bit more. So we're going to jump in now. We're going to talk about the gun, and I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. So guys, we're going to quickly go over the build that we're going to be using for the Scar. Now, I personally do like to have the monolithic suppressor due to obviously maximizing that damage range, the recoil control, and all of the goodies. Then on here, again, it's basically the same build with any meta AR when using it for long range. You want to have the long barrel suppressor, the grip, and all that. So we're going to be going with the... just going to change the look of the barrel. Obviously, the barrel is exactly the same. It's just the visual effect of it. I want to have the cool looking one. Then we're also going to have on here the VLK sight. Now, obviously, a lot of people will either choose the VLK, they'll choose the holographic, or there is another one here that they choose a lot also. Now, that could be either the canted sight, or they'll just go with a straight Cronin 430 Pro Optic. Now, I don't know why I said 430, it's 480, my bad. So the canted as well, if you wanted to have maybe the red dot sight as an available option, this could also be a viable thing for you there. But for me, we're just going to stick with oh, the wrong one. We're going to be sticking with the VLK, and moving over to the underbarrel. The same with most assault rifles. You're going to want to really use the Commando foregrip. Now, you could use the Merc foregrip if you wanted to. That's a decent other option, but for now, I personally will be using the underbarrel. Now, this is where we was going and talking about in the intro there. Now, the only options available, okay, is a 25-round mag or a 30-round mag. Now, to me, guys, this just isn't enough. You need to have at least a 50-round mag. If they could include add a 50-round mag to this, I think it would completely change the Scar, and it would 100% become probably a viable weapon. It's just at the moment in time, this has quite a bit of a recoil. The bullets are nice hitting, they do a decent amount of damage. But with the fact that, it's such a low magazine, higher recoil, you do miss quite a few shots with it. By the time you actually knock someone, you can only really take out one or two people. You could never use this really in quads as a main weapon, I don't think. I mean, it's going to be usable for the really skilled players, but the average person would not be able to use this weapon, unfortunately. But we do use the 30-round mags there. And, of course, we have to add on the Damascus camo because it just looks pretty. So this is going to be the build that we use during this video. And, as always, hope you enjoy, guys. So, guys, upon analysing this very first clip here, as you can see, we do have an enemy who's about 115 meters away. Now, we do have a full 30-round mag. We managed to crack and knock the guy, but then by the time, because of the visual recoil it takes to actually finish them, if you were fighting a full team of 4 here, I don't think the gun would be very viable due to the low mag.
So Gordon can't kill me, wow. Alright. I got on the roof.
So guys, once again, my aim here wasn't exactly the greatest, but at the same time, there is a fair decent amount of visual recoil here, but it took almost an entire mag just to kill that one guy. Now, for me, this isn't going to be, as I stated, the best when coming to using it as a meta weapon, but I will say that it does have a nice damage output. Behind us?
Well, 2. Oh, 4, yeah.
Oh, 4, 6. 2, 4, 6.
Oh, what the fuck? Okay, nice. Go for it.
Oh, they're in, what's it called, a Bertha.
Check it out. I knew it.
Oh my god.
He got out.
So guys, looking back at the actual patch notes, obviously we had the neck damage multiplier increased from 1 to 1.5, and we had the upper torso damage increased from a 1 to a 1.2. Now, I'm pretty sure J-God has done a video on the actual amounts of extra bullets, and it's only like a couple of extra bullets it takes. You know, sorry, increase, not that it takes extra. It's only 1 or 2 bullets faster to kill, depending on whether you hit those chest shots consecutively. And obviously you don't hit any of the arms or anything. But that being said, guys, I genuinely still believe that the damage doesn't need... Maybe the damage needs to be increased a little bit more. But it's more the recoil that needs to be worked on next, and the mag size, in my opinion. So guys, the next tip I would love to give you on this video is, I don't know if you noticed right here in this clip here, I'm actually keeping myself hidden from the second person. Now, I've noticed a lot of people when having a gunfight, they'll be stood in the open, they won't have cover, or even if they're near cover, they'll only they'll be in cover, but they won't be hidden from the second opponent. So the best way I can explain this further is if you're fighting 2 people at once, the best way to think of it is it's better to have a 1v1 than a 2v1. So if you can eliminate one of the second people, and I don't mean by killing them, I mean by eliminating your sight of view from them. So you stay hidden behind an object so that you only can be seen by one of them, then you can only ever be shot by one of them at one point. Now, this being said, this will enable you to have that one-on-one gunfight, remain hidden, heal up, even maybe get the thirst, and then go on to having your second 1v1. Instead of having it so that they're both shooting you at the exact same time, you're now making it so that it's more of a 1v1, 1v1 instead of a 2v1. So you're just eliminating the process of having the ability for them to gang up on you, and you're putting it more in your own favor.
Okay. Well, then maybe it's going up the stairs.
So guys, the thought process on what is actually happening right here is basically the enemy team is at the top of this building, and we know that obviously 1, either they've got to jump, or 2, we need to go up there and kill them. Now, the only other aspect we have in relation to the layout is if we go up top, we're actually putting ourselves at a disadvantage, but also having the advantage of the high ground. Now, I know I always say that high ground is the best, but that's not always the case. Now, especially on a big tall building like downtown, whenever you're fighting on these multi-story platforms and having the different heights coming into play, is that if you are at the top and you have to jump off, you have to pull your chute at some point. You can't just jump down. There's, you know, you will take full damage. So upon doing that situation right there, obviously you do need to enable it so that you have the advantage at all costs. Now, in this particular gunfight here, I didn't hear the guy to the right until it was too late, and I put myself in a very sticky situation. So obviously what I done was I crawled in and I self-res. I told Token not to worry about me, focus on his self-res, and he actually got knocked right there, and I was so lucky to self-res in time and get the res off. Obviously I then heal him and obviously heal up. But in this whole situation, obviously it's now a 2v2, so it's us 2 versus the 2 up the top. Now, in this situation, we now have the advantage because obviously, as I said, although they have the high ground, they can look down and shoot on us. With it being a really tall building like this, if it was a smaller building, they would have all the advantage. But right now, because the fact that they're on a really tall building, they do in fact have to jump off, and which means they also need to pull their parachute, which means in any situation to get the win here, you really want to actually play the low ground, because obviously you won't need to pull the chute, and you can shoot them while they're in fact pulling theirs. Now what I was doing is I was holding my my airstrike in my hand, because the moment Token would knock someone, I would send an airstrike up there. Unfortunately, Token could only crack their armors. He couldn't manage to actually get the knock. Now obviously the zone's coming in, they are still safe up there, but depending on whether this pulls back towards them or back towards us will depend on whether or not they have to jump or whether they have to stay up there. Now, their best option would have been to jump off the backside a lot sooner, but for some reason they didn't. Yeah, this is how it turned out.
Strike again.
Didn't even have to freaking do anything.
Oh my god. What was that plan, dude?
Why didn't they jump?
I don't know. They could have jumped when we were coming down the deeper.
And there it is, guys. Honestly, where do we start when it comes to this Scar? Now, part of me is wanting to say that it's definitely going in the right direction, because obviously they're buffing it. But at the moment, it just doesn't have that enough oomph to be able to call it meta. And on top of that, the magazine size really lets it down. Now, if it was to stay this same damage, you know, the same exact damage, they didn't buff the power of the weapon at all, but they increased the magazine size, maybe it would become viable. Wouldn't be meta, but it would become viable purely on the basis that there's a lot of recoil. Now, if they were to add the magazine and recoil in this current state, it would definitely become, I'd say, in the top 5 of the weapons of being used throughout the whole thing. But again, the damage as well, it's one of those things really where I feel like most of the Cold War weapons are starting to overtake now. And I think it's definitely going in a good direction that the Cold War weapons are proceeding to, you know, overthrow all the Modern Warfare weapons as we're moving on through the sort of era of Warzone. Now, obviously, the next Call of Duty to come out is going to be the Call of Duty Vanguard, and that's going to be set in World War II, and I don't think they should keep the Modern Warfare weapons in, if I'm honest with you. I think they should either completely start fresh and just have the the World War II weapons on the, you know, supposed new map that's coming, or if they are going to keep any weapons from previous, you know, Call of Duties, it should be just the Cold War weapons, and they should keep it in a 2-year cycle. Now, that being said, guys, as always, we're going to be focusing on mostly Warzone on this channel. But let me know down below in the comments as well, in a couple of months' time, when Battlefield 2042 comes out, would you guys like to see some footage of that? Maybe talking about the game and, you know, getting some gameplay of some really awesome, you know, clips and stuff. Let me know down in the comments below. As always, guys, I love each and every one of you. Thank you so much for all the love and support. If you haven't done so, let's please smash that like button. Let's see if we can go for 100 on this video. I really appreciate you all, guys, and I'll see you all in the next one.